Hey viewers, how's it going? My name is DividableHalo HD, and today I am joined by an honored guest, Fred from Nav Spec War. How are you doing today?
Good. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. Alright, so we're going to be talking about your history within the Halo clan community, asking you a few questions, and we're going to talk about a little bit more about Nav Spec War. So, can you answer the first question? And the first question is, when did you first join the Halo clan community?
I would say I first joined the community in, say, summer of 2011.
Alright, and what was the first clan you joined exactly?
First clan I joined, wasn't in it for long, was a clan called the True Spartans under a leader Kurt 051.
Alright, so is this Kurt well known in the community right now, or?
Well, he was very active with both Navcom and Nav Spec War, and made a bit of a name for himself while he tried to get up his Spartan 3s, but I don't know that many communities know him anymore.
Alright, so how exactly did you find like the clan community, or even in fact the UNSC community?
Well, back when I first got on Xbox Live and first found a clan, I was a really big Halo book fan, so I started looking up gamer tags for Spartans. I couldn't get one myself, but I did find a few to message, and Kurt was the first one to reply.
Alright, so were you like planning on becoming a Spartan in the clan community like right away? Was that like your main goal?
Well, I wasn't really sure how clans worked or how Spartans were back then, but as soon as I found the clan, I thought to become a member, and being a member in his clan meant that I would be a Spartan, so yeah, that was pretty well my intention at the time.
So what was your first Spartan within his clan?
What do you mean?
What was the first Spartan name that you actually took up?
Well, my first gamer tag, as many people know, was Blue Team 104. Mixture of being a fan of Blue Team and the Fred tag, but I didn't change my tag at the time, but I was recognized as Fred within that clan initially.
Alright, so you basically stuck with Fred throughout like basically your career within the Halo clan community.
Yeah.
Alright, so what eventually happened that you were no longer part of Kurt's clan?
Well, Kurt was doing some negotiations with some other clans like the Spartan Project and other leaders like Joshua 029 and John 117 SII, also known as Dunbar. And I believe another person by the name of SF Spartan Delta. Well, they all got together and sort of brought all the clans together onto a website that was under Joshua's leadership. And the clan at the time, known as Nav Spec War, was actually under the title the Orion Project. And he pretty much took his clan and merged it into that one, and that's how I became a member of Nav Spec War.
So, do you remember like the exact year when you joined?
That was also in 2011.
All right. So you're kind of one of the oldest current NavSpec War members still in NavSpec.
That's right.
All right. So what exactly happened within the clan? Like, were you Spartan off the bat right in NavSpec, or did you have to go through Marines and other stuff?
Well, the interesting thing was the founders of NavSpec were Joshua 029, Frederick 104, and Samuel 034. They weren't very active at the time. Rather, they put John 117, aka Dunbar, in charge. And I guess he saw some kind of potential in me because right off the bat, unlike many people, he just made me a Spartan in there. Put me in charge of my own team, and yeah, I just became a Spartan right off the bat.
All right. And was like Spartan conscription as big as it was back then as it is now?
Well, that's kind of funny that you mentioned that. I don't know how John's conscription normally went, but I didn't go through a conscription process myself, and I don't think Kurt did either. I think that he evaluated Kurt's clan and felt that a few of his members were, good enough to just become Spartans in his clan.
All right. So what big events happened during NavSpec War?
Well, initially, 2011 up to 2012, pre-Navcom, there was a bit of drama between some members. We had an ODST branch that started up on Reach called the 22nd Tactical ODST Division. Name got thrown around a lot in a bunch of different clans, but we had those people in there. John got a bit of an ONI set up with some interesting individuals, including the Panthers. And the Panthers sort of came into the clan, laid a foundation for the ODSTs, set them up, taught some call-outs, climbs, things like that. They did a lot of training there. Um, but later on, we had some issues when Joshua came back around. There's a lot of arguments with him and John, and John kept going away, Joshua kept going away, Spartan leadership got thrown around a bit, and eventually John either left or got kicked out. It's happened a bunch of times in the clan, so I can't really tell which it was at the time. But eventually he came back, brought some MLG players in, formed another ODST branch. There was a lot of drama with that. The ODST branches fought a lot. So later on, we were pretty well on the verge of kicking him out again. And he took his ODSTs and some other people he knew and founded Navcom.
All right. Now, do you believe Navcom was something to like get back at Nav Spec War, or was it just something like to just create another clan?
Well, I think the way Dunbar saw it originally would be a nice fresh start with opportunities to bring UNSC clans back together.
All right. So, what caused like what was the initial thing that caused problems between NavSpec and Navcom?
Well, initially it was just the interactions between our leader Joshua and theirs Dunbar, and there was a lot of tension in there. Their people still were really competitive with our guys, and our guys weren't overly fond of their attitude, and just a bunch of drama there. But later on, Joshua was convinced that it would be a good idea to merge the two clans, and NSW kind of merged into Navcom, formed a larger group, and the drama started later on after that.
All right. Was Navcom like under only one leadership? Was it under multiple leaderships as it is now?
Well, Dunbar was really careful to say that he wasn't the leader of Navcom, which to me didn't make a lot of sense at the time because he pretty well told everyone what to do. He was recognized as the boss, and he put other people in charge of branches. And, well, a lot of drama started up there because our Spartans got into their clan as Spartans, our ODSTs as ODSTs, things like that. And although he didn't want to call himself the leader, he still led our Spartans, and that, well, caused a lot of drama between guys. Later on, ODSTs became competitive with Spartans, and branch leaders kept switching out of their branches, trying to get transfers into either the Spartans or the Navy or wherever.
All right. So basically, we're gonna change this quickly. But during the time of the Navcom and basically NavSpec, a lot of things went on. Now, you obviously, or you probably knew that the military community was out there, right?
Yeah.
What clans were more notable to you within the military community that you guys knew or
Well,
interacted with? Sorry.
that's all right. Our clan at the time, recognized as Navcom, we didn't. Well, personally, I didn't like to deal with other clans. We had some ambassadors on site, but the main ones that we dealt with were primarily things like the Divine Imperium and the UUF.
All right. So during the time of Navcom and NavSpec, were basically the military community like losing a lot of like big significant clans such as the UN, FleetCom, and the Admin, or even more clans?
Well, at the time, like I said, I wasn't too involved with their groups, but I knew there was a lot of drama between or going on in the UN and the UUF, and Navcom was at this sort of war for the entire duration I was there. But other military clans weren't really spoken a lot of in Navcom comms.
All right. So was it safe to say that mainly the UNSC community was separated from the military community for a long time?
Well, it's hard to say because although Navcom is recognized as one of the larger UNSC and more notable UNSC clans, it really didn't make up the entire UNSC community on its own. So there could have been interactions between other UNSC clans and military clans that simply weren't, directly through Navcom. But I don't know if our clan and general military clans had a lot of contact at the time.
All right. So there's been a lot of stuff that has been said like about like Navcom usually choose off what Nav Spec War, right?
Yeah.
So for other stuff that I heard, like there was something that I heard about saying like when Nav Spec War rarely goes into matchmaking because Navcom usually tries to target them. Is that true?
Well, we don't generally get off of matchmaking because they don't. I'm sorry, they try and get into games with us. We just are a little bit more careful about watching our startup timers because we find that a lot of their guys will either have one of ours added and try and stalk us in the lobby and get us in a game through there. So we just gotta play the timer carefully. But A lot of the issues, though, with NavSpecWar and Navcom coming from the split, NavSpecWar got away from Navcom because people were being given too many chances or being handed ranks, and a lot of drama with leadership and Spartans being blamed for things, and it was just chaotic. So once we got away from them, they obviously, weren't overly fond of us, and they've been trying to get competitive matches with us. But
Now, was a lot of this mainly the Spartans that were trying to get into drama with each other?
well, after NavSpec War split, we tried to be less competitive towards them, but their Spartans, they really didn't like us very much. Some of our Spartans stayed behind in Navcom and are still members, but um, they are obviously no longer NavSpec War affiliated, and the people they brought into their branch either split from NavSpec War a while back or simply haven't liked us because of what they've heard. So yeah, their Spartans are awfully competitive with our guys, and I'd imagine some of their ODSTs and Marines aren't too fond of us either.
All right. So one thing is Navcom has obviously earned themselves a name, or earned themselves a name, right? So they're out there now, and they obviously challenged the military community, and the military community has challenged them. Why hasn't really NavSpec War challenged like many other clans since like the drama between NavSpec and Navcom?
Well, ever since that drama, NavSpec War has been awfully particular with the people we talk to. Now, ever since that happened, we don't like to deal with people who openly disrespect other clans and are overly competitive, trash talk, teabag, that whole mess. We just won't even bother with those kinds of people. And we know that some of the people in Navcom have treated us that way and continue to, so we just won't even bother talking to them anymore.
All right. So what made it like? Why is it so hard to really join NavSpec War? Because that's one thing that I've heard a lot of people say. Like I rarely bump into members or see members part of NavSpec War, other than yourselves and a couple of Spartans that you're with.
Well, like I said, ever since we split, we really upped our standards. There's been changes in leadership, and well, yeah, we do make it a lot harder for our guys to get in. We don't want people to come in here and be the overly competitive type, so we try and weed them out through our recruitment. And it's really been helping us with our members, as in our guys. They're a lot more respectful to other clans, and we no longer have to deal with people who trash talk or undisciplined in games. So we find that the higher quality is obviously a lot better than greater quantity of members.
All right. Now, is NavSpec War currently making a comeback into the community?
Well, I would say yes and no, being that we still don't want to deal with disrespectful individuals, but we are starting to talk to other clans again and try and find good people to be around. But I don't know. A lot of people have said that NavSpec War has been dead. It's fallen. It's no longer around. Some people even want to restart it, but we're still here, and just because we have hard standards doesn't mean that we're really going anywhere.
All right. So what is currently happening within NavSpec War?
Well, NavSpec War, ever since we split from Navcom, we've had our 79th Marine Battalion. We've been getting recruitment up through there, getting our Marines well trained, well disciplined. And while we're slowly getting members for the Marines, we're also going to start working on our ODSTs again. Our Spartans, most of them are no longer in the clan. Some of them were a bit too disrespectful. Some of them kind of, I don't know, drifted. So there aren't many Spartans left here. Going to be honest there, but our Marines, I feel, are some of the best in the entire community, being that they are actually, well disciplined and follow orders.
All right. So one of the biggest things is like the insurrectionist things between the military and the UNSC. What is your perspective on that?
Well, personally, I don't feel that other UNSC or military clans are quote unquote insurrectionists. I know some of our leaders in the past would dub things like that, but honestly, I feel that the only people who are rebels, openly rebels, are the people who claim to be, and people who will actively go around acting as terrorists, assassins, headhunters, people like that. But I certainly feel that people like Navcom can still be recognized as a UNSC clan, regardless of whether or not they hold the same standards that the UNSC or even our clan would.
All right. So another question, getting back to it, is what is your opinion on basically clans such as like back then UUF and Navcom calling each other fascists?
Well, I can say that fascist was certainly one of the kinder words that was spoken between the two, but I'm not overly fond of clans like those. I find that people with leaders that aren't very respectful, or people with members that aren't disciplined, it's, like I said, it's the kind of people we don't want to be around. So I'm not going to openly, badmouth them. We have rules, and we respect everyone, regardless of whether or not they respect us. One of our, things here in Nav Spec War, but honestly, I can't see myself affiliating our members with Navcom or the UUF or anything like that again.
All right. So one thing that a lot of that basically appears a lot is, or it's more, I guess, I don't know how to explain it, but there isn't much media for Nav Spec War or even Navcom, in fact, right?
Right. We used to have Spartan in charge of our media. He's no longer with us. You'll see his channel, Dominic Phillips. He used to post raid videos, but recently we haven't been out putting any media. We do intend to in the future, maybe some raid footage, maybe some recruitment videos, but at the time we don't have an official, recorder or anything like that.
All right. So do you believe it's safe to say that Nav Spec War is more of an actual clan that just deals with like not much drama? It just kind of wants to stick together and be an actual clan, not like a drama-seeking clan like many other clans in the community are.
Yeah, I would say that because of our changes, we are certainly a lot less of a drama-seeking clan than we used to be. We're more serious about our members, and we don't have inter-branch conflict anymore. I'm actually very happy about that. So, yeah, no, we don't actively go seek out drama. We don't feel it's beneficial. It just causes things like trash talking and slander between clans, and it doesn't really help anyone.
All right. And what is your current opinion on Navcom?
Hmm. Well, I know, or at least I used to know, a lot of their leaders, some of their well, better well-known members like Rorschach and former Anton and even Javier. And I really don't appreciate that their members will constantly badmouth us. I found a few of their members to be respectful, but realistically, when it's all over the place and they don't have it locked down, I can't even bother talking to them. But I don't appreciate the way Navcom acts around in the community. I mean, when I was in Navcom, just regardless of whether or not they would win a raid, they would try and justify it and say that for this reason we win or for this reason we win. And it's just like, if you can't have the decency to admit a loss, then what's even the point in having fights? And people in Navcom will claim things like some of their members were in their clan a lot more active than they were. I remember someone saying that Javier was in there for like 4 to 5 years, which is quite funny because I haven't even been in Nav Spec War for a little over 4 years, and actually remember being one of the people that made Javier a Spartan way back when. But I, I'm just not a fan of their conduct.
All right. Now, is it safe to say that Nav Spec War is one of the more long-lasting UNSC clans in the community?
Well, I would certainly say so. Most people wouldn't recognize it, but our founders have been around and formed a group back in Halo 2. And although we've had our many website shutdowns and drama fests and, slight fractures here and there with people splitting off, we've been around this entire time, and whenever we do get knocked down by whoever, we certainly don't fall apart. I mean, we're still standing here, and people will come and try and attack us, but there's not a lot you can do to motivate leadership.
All right. So, do you believe that Nav Spec War is going to be long or around for a long time, even longer?
Honestly, I do. I feel that although our training is long and hard, the disciplined members and the small community we have within our own clan, it's certainly worth being around, and I'm certainly going to keep it running for as long as I possibly can.
All right. So let's talk about something before I forget, and that's about Sergeant Rorschach's interview. He said something that you wanted to clarify. What was it exactly?
Well, I heard a few things from him. I mean, for example, I think he said that our Marine training can last anywhere from 3 to 4 months, and although our training is long, it isn't designed to be lasting over a month. Some people have to get on maybe once a week to try and make it for sessions, but I don't think we've ever had training that lasted over, a solid month. And he mentioned other things like our people boasting that we're the first UNSC clan, and not that we are one of the first. I will say that, but our people won't brag about being the first UNSC clan or anything like that. We find it's too pretentious. And he said that Nav Spec War had ended in 2012, and I think that might be a bit of a misunderstanding. I mean, we did have a website shut down back then. Some people were made admins that shouldn't have been, and we did merge into Navcom. But our members stayed active with our own people, and we eventually had to split back off from them. And although that is lost time for our clan, I don't think that our clan ever truly ended. And here's another thing. I heard this from a Panther, I believe. They said that Nav Spec War is the reason that the UNSC community fell apart on Reach. We started infighting between UNSC groups and things like that, and to defend that point, I don't think that it was our fault that things like that went the way they did. Reach is an old game. It's going to go downhill eventually. But when you have to fight Covenant clans and are purely dedicated to it, it gets really hard to find respectful elites. I don't know many elite clans nowadays that won't use human weapons or follow some elite code without disrespecting their enemy. And I think that's the reason we had to start fighting UNSC groups, because they actually, played by rules and things like that.
All right. So let's move on to the Halo games right now. So currently, what game is NavSpec War on?
Currently, we are in both Halo Reach and Halo 4, and though we haven't made an official, declaration about it, we do intend to move to the Xbox One come backwards compatibility.
All right. So do you plan on staying on basically Halo Reach and Halo 4 till around Halo 5, or do you even plan on moving to Halo 5?
Well, I do think some of our members are going to be going to Halo 5 eventually, but our current concern, I believe, will be getting our members over onto the Master Chief Collection, making sure our guys have Xbox Ones and all that.
All right. And do you believe there's going to be any interaction with the military community with NavSpec War?
Well, I've heard a lot of rumors, and a lot of people will say that they're going to come and take down NavSpec War, but other than friendly raids, well sanctioned and rules regulated, I don't think we're going to have much interaction with most of the military community.
All right. Is there any few questions you'd like to cover,
Hmm.
or anything you'd like to basically state out there?
Well, I do want to say this. There have been a lot of groups that have come and gone from our clan, people who are no longer with us, and other people who really did put in a lot of work. I just want to throw out a general thanks to the former Panthers of our clan for the foundation they laid for the 22nd, the members of Navcom who are no longer with us because they did keep our members active and did create a good foundation for other groups like the Marines and the Spartans and even some type of a Navy. But one thing I do want to say is people will come into clans and they're going to call themselves a Spartan regardless of whether or not anyone else agrees. Now, what makes a person a Spartan, I can't say. It's not my right to judge who is a Spartan and who isn't, and I don't feel it is anyone else's. But the way we have it in Nav Spec War, Spartans act as role models. They are the pinnacle of discipline and respect that we would want our clan to be represented by. And I feel that anyone who calls himself a Spartan, who can go around trash-talking people, asking for 1v1s, and just a bunch of other, terrible slander and things like it, I just would like to invite them to think about their careers in the UNSC community and ask them, do they really think that doing these things would make them some type of an idol or role model for other members of the UNSC community, because honestly, I think that our clan is one of the few who actually abides by the rules of just general conduct regarding respecting other individuals, other clans, and all that. So, I know I'm rambling here, but I've got to say, anyone who's looking for a UNSC clan, disciplined, respectful, all of that, I don't see them finding many places for it other than Nav Spec War.
All right. So I forgot to ask one more question, and that's the founder of Nav Spec War, Joshua, right?
Yeah, Joshua founded the group with his buddies Frederick 104 and Samuel 034 back in Halo 2.
All right. Now, what is the current status on basically Joshua?
Well, I can't get really too into detail because I'm not sure what he'd want me to say in his place, but he's currently on military deployment and he is not an active Spartan in our clan, though when he returns, he is still, you know, one of our Spartans. He's not our leader, though he is one of our founders. We respect him. He is a role model in our clan, and I do hope everything's going well for him and hope he'll be back soon.
All right. So one more last question, and that is, how do you believe like the clans out there can benefit themselves within the community, like just not only UNSC clans, but like military or even Sangheili?
Well, like I said before, I don't want to get too into all of these coalitions and groups like that are starting up, but I feel that if the general community could just agree to a set of rules that don't have to be laid out by some random middle person, but if they could all just respect one another and have that kind of discipline that we treat our affiliates with, I feel that things like raids and all that could really come back to life on both Reach, Halo 4, and really all over the place.
All right. Now, I believe that's all I really have to ask you. Is there anything last minute things you want to state out there, or are we pretty much good?
No, I believe that's it.
All right. I'd like to thank you for taking your time to be part of this interview, Fred.
Of course, I appreciate being here.
All right, guys. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to like it up. Also, be sure to comment down on anything that you guys thought, or any questions that you guys thought of, or thought that basically just I'm sorry, I'm really out of brain fart right now, but yeah, if you guys just comment down below on what you guys thought of Fred's interview. And I'm not sure if you would reply to any of these questions, Fred, would you?
Yeah, I'll be checking out the video. Anyone posts up any questions? I'm sure most people know my gamer tag, Fred104, SII. Feel free to message me, but I'll be checking out the comments.
All right. So once again, thank you for joining us on this interview. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys all later. Hope you guys enjoyed. Bye.